If you were to ask who was the most hated alternative artist to come out of TikTok, I think only one person comes to mind. There's a lot of things that come and go in and out of my memory slot, which is really, it's barely a 200 megabyte floppy disk in there. But for some reason, TX2 has really made a mark.
I'm a 5'4" man who sled his rent.
During COVID, we all got spoon-fed new music like a baby. I was in the gang, I was doom scrolling. I could have been improving my tapping on the guitar, but that's okay. Who the fuck is this lad? I mean, clearly that is not his name. TX2 was created by Evan Thomas. His last name isn't heavily documented, but I think that's it. The TikTok page dates way back to 2019, but apparently he's been dabbling in music since high school. He talks a fair bit about doing empty local gigs in his hometown. I'm not a full-fledged member of the TX2 community, but from what I can tell, over the past year, TX2 has really built out as a full band. With Corky on bass, Cam on guitar, and Sam on drums, though Sam in his bio does just say on tour with, so he could just be like a hired musician at the moment. And yes, we have the frontman, Evan. This is usually who is known as TX2 and who's usually referenced as TX2. When this all started, it was just Evan. I went all the way back to his very first post that he at least still has public on his TikTok, and it is the largest doing covers in the room. Surprisingly enough, it starts with rap covers.
Y'all get caught up in thoughts without thinking, let that sink in. I'm going up like the light.
Though I do know there is this other guy that featured pretty early on. I'm not sure if this is Cam or not. I'm terrible with faces. Don't ask me to pick Tom Hanks out of a lineup. The rapping starts in 2019. I don't know if he just took a whole bunch of covers off, but around 2021 we see him dive more into the alternative emo genre. And he broadens out from not just covers, he starts to do little relatable skits, and this is where we start to see his channel take off a little bit more. It's steady growth. Even now there's not loads and loads of views on these older videos. And just like the rest of us who kind of came up on TikTok with consistency, eventually you see a couple odd videos that just for some reason pop off. I would consider him a real artist. There are bands that I promote that purely just do band things and tour. They haven't got that many monthly listeners. He has 433,000 Spotify monthly listeners. Yeah, hi. I filmed this about 3 weeks ago. He now has 602,000. I have a feeling this could be because of the new collab single they just released, which we will get to in a second. That is not a number to be laughing at, especially when you think about how hugely exaggerated our music is getting. Yes, it's more easily acceptable. Guys, do I have a stutter? Do I need to go to speech therapy? How easily acceptable? What? How easily accessible music is these days? Sure, that makes it easier for people to come up, but we can also make shit in our bedroom and we have a lot more artists to pick from. I am not coming from the stance of a point of thinking I am a seasoned professional with all of the knowledge. I don't think I'm a Wikipedia page on TX2. Wikipedia, that's also another place I could ask. There are so many reasons that TX2 gets hate. Being someone who promotes music, and there's a lot of things, but one of the things on the list is extreme rage baiting. So the way that this guy promotes songs is with a lot of what I think we could call rage baiting. Like, there's probably a few different tactics in there, but more or less, he has gained a lot of popularity by making a lot of angry people still invest in watching and commenting on his videos.
I'm a 5'4". Wait, fuck that! Do you want to come meet or hang with me in person? Have you ever heard of the band Ice Nine Kills?
TX2 is known for being like, this is the heaviest metal song you will ever hear, or just like bait all these different genres, because let's be honest guys, he's taking advantage of our own toxicity where we will have a metalcore song that is metalcore and we'll say, this isn't metalcore. People will go into like Bring Me Horizon's new music and be like, these guys aren't even metal anymore, they're just pop. Do they even know who Slayer is? Guys, like, we've made the perfect formulation for him to come in and just take advantage of it. We did this. Our toxic gatekeeping over the years has created the ability for this to be done to us. We say it to each other in genres where it does make perfect sense. So of course someone is going to come and say, this is the heaviest metal song ever, because even if it was a super heavy metal song, people would still be angry. I got a little bit passionate there. There is another thing with the way that he promotes his music that people really don't like. We're gonna hit the cliches first because it hits real close to home. The way that he talks in a video. People are like, it's so fake, it's such a character.
Jimmy, what's wrong?
I'm so fucking sick of the same Panic at the Disco song.
Jimmy, please, your emo is spreading all over the car.
What if we wrote our own wedding story?
Genius, hit it.
I know we're all well-seasoned adults here and we can look at someone and go, they're putting it on a little bit. And we even knew that this used to happen with YouTube videos where people used to be super excited, and now on YouTube we can kind of chat a little bit more. I feel like you're in the room with me. I could give you a handshake if you wanted. It's TikTokification. It's a little bit TikTok brain, but I'm not going to lie to you. Being someone that makes videos on both platforms, there is no way I would gain the views that I gain on Instagram and TikTok by making a video where I talk like this. You're not stupid, you're not a baby. You do know this, but maybe you haven't brought it to the front of your subconscious. Oh, your subconscious is in the back. Subconscious? Base conscious. Everybody consumes long form media and short form media. I mean, some people actually probably don't consume short form media, but it would be rare. Usually when we're watching long form content, it's because we want to absorb that information. When we are consuming short form content, we're wanting a little dum-dum, right? We're just passing the time. There are certain different formulas that you can do to really grasp people's attention. Oh, I feel like I'm just dad explaining things to you, but you know that I do it. I definitely do it. As you can see where I'm talking to you like this, I go like this, and that is literally what it's like having a conversation with me. I filmed this whole section, which pretty much could just be summarized by saying, I'm really not one to talk. I make a lot of my TikTok videos for relatable scenarios that aren't actually happening because I'm alone in my bedroom. I'm just making videos to connect with people, have some fun, share some music, and sometimes that's just not best done lying in bed half asleep with a stained Motley Crue t-shirt. We all do this in conversations. Like, we'll put on funny voices, we'll get really loud and excited sometimes. It's just a little abnormal when you only see 10 seconds of that. I'll just be a little silly, a little goofy. So some people are saying like TX2 is just putting on this massive character. He could be a high energy dude. And yeah, he's not going to act like that all the time. Can we blame him because TikTok and the algorithm rewards the way that people grasp people's attention very quickly? I don't know, I've been sitting on this for a while, but there is some rage baiting that I'm not super happy with. I'm sorry. Firstly, I have seen some people kind of upset with his stance in the LGBTQ plus community. I'm aware that I'm the last person that could ever say, this offends me. I believe that we should all be whoever we want, as long as we're not hurting anybody. But if I have missed something, feel free to educate down below. Kindly, I'm a soft little puddin'. But I do find it hard to believe that he has any purely malicious intent.
People are constantly questioning whether or not I'm bi because of how I present myself. Gay does not have to look one way. I want to be a role model for those who are gay or bi and don't fit into the stereotype. Yes, you can be queer, look like this, and make music that sounds like this.
Very open about being a part of the community, and he's also spoken about having multiple terrible run-ins throughout his whole life.
Before I came out as a bi punk rock artist, grew up in a small town where I couldn't be myself.
I think there is a huge upside to being very open and talking about these things, so I give him props to that because it's not easy to do. My mind actually got flipped whilst making this video. I'm still a fight-free picket fence, but I can see where people are coming from. But I think one of the things that really got me was reading the comments and seeing how much love and appreciation that his community has towards him.
In case you didn't know, I wrote a punk rock song calling out the governor's bi name.
TX2 is trying to create like an open and inviting community for everyone. Like, all humans are different, right? I would say there isn't a cookie cutter that perfectly fits everyone in the LGBTQ plus community. So does that mean that different corners in the supportive community could also have their support look a bit different?
In case you didn't know what was happening, they were playing my song at a pride fest, using it as a protest song. I didn't mean all Christians, just a...
He's clearly going to protest. Man at the end here with the flag is playing overtime on the defense. This is a different video. They're like out of the tunnel. We link this back to like my last video, which nobody saw, by the way, because YouTube's like, you said a lot of naughty words in the first 10 seconds. This might be one of those things where his community is who understands his tongue-in-cheek, his humor. Maybe he thinks people just need to lighten up a little bit, which in a way, yeah, we kind of need to. This one hits a little close to home, but I also don't know how I feel about it, so I feel like that means I can have an opinion on it, right? Old Girl's getting overly sexualized. He's getting a lot of hate because he had a lyric that said something along the lines of,
God, is that a goth Tommy, mommy? Hold up, where is she going? And wait, what is she saying?
I don't think I'm goth. How many of you look like me and have had your grandma call you super goth? Yeah. And I have to sit there and go, Grandma, you don't understand how incredibly offensive that is to the girly pops that spend 4 hours doing precise eyeliner that I could never. Absolutely never. But if we just widen the net a little bit to alternative, I'm sure a lot of girly pops could maybe relate to this. I have seen a huge uproar on my channel towards the sexualization of alt girly pops. And by this, I mean my comment section is filled with how do I get a girlfriend like this? I started saying girly pops ironically, and now it's stuck. I miss it though. And having just thirsty comments, actually I should correct myself. They're not all thirsty. TX2 does go into these videos to correct the narrative where he's playing a joke and trying to make fun of the people that say things like this. I think it should be chill that we can make jokes, but when we have a larger audience, we don't know who's going to absorb that information. Dude, it messes with my head because I think we should also be able to make content that we want to do.
Wait, what's the second thing?
Oh yeah, she said don't bark at goth girls. They don't really like that.
I mean, I come here now to connect and be able to chat with you guys, and I find it quite hard to post as many talking videos as I used to on TikTok and Instagram. It is very sweet that people want to compliment you. I'm not trying to complain about that, but it's really nice to have human interactions where someone goes, oh shit, I also buy that protein powder.
Oh my god, is that a goth Tommy, mommy? Dad, that's not how you get a goth girl.
Well, how else will I get a goth girl?
I have an idea. Do you still have that guitar?
I drive nowhere without it.
I've kind of noticed that when he has one kind of joke, he'll use it for like a period of time. Like all those videos are kind of clumped together on his page. Personally, I could only be mad at this if joking about this kind of behavior actually increased this kind of behavior, which I don't know. I'm just a girl. I wouldn't even know how to prove that or where to begin. I'm not Einstein or insert an actual relevant social. Do I know anything? It is all well and good for me to put my hand up and saying, as an alt girl, this fucking sucks to have the media sexualizing me. Have we forgotten that the media has been sexualizing women for a very long time? And I get it, as alternative girlies, we just want to be left alone to sit in the corner by ourselves and play with our toenails. Fuck, toenails, really? If we're gonna raise that flag, we also need to raise the flag of, hey, don't sexualize anybody ever. Which I think everyone is probably saying. I need to get into fetal position for this. I don't know if you remember the 2010 emo days. This is a sensitive topic, but he's making it kind of hard for me to feel like a very sturdy picket fence when I saw that he was rage baiting Unalive for, I believe, his like live streams. Maybe there were other things out there, but that's all I've seen. I don't know if we should be normalizing that. When I was a little pimp squeak, if I saw one of my favorite artists go onto social media and say all this, I would become deeply worried and scared for them. Like, you have to think about fans that actually love this dude. They'd probably be like a little sad if they saw a video like that because they don't want to lose him. I'm all about self-expression and also showing people that they're not alone with their struggles, but you also have to think, are these songs going to be screened by thousands and thousands of people with big smiles on their faces? I think music's music. I just think it's like something you just have to consider and weigh up, and it's just that this is an artist that's working as a stepping stone to help get people into the scene. I grew up with Perseverance. I know what songs like this are like and that they exist and that we've loved them and we've put them into the emo Hall of Fame.
GK are the gimmick without the substance. They're trying to use stereotypes to get famous, to get popular, and they use fetishization to get popular. It's the gimmick without the history, without the substance.
And I shouldn't even have to tell you this, but as someone who has tried to end their life several times because they thought that there was something wrong with them, who has struggled to come out as bi because he feared that girls would like him less, his family wouldn't understand, and he would lose friends, which all of the above happened, and dealing with much more intense trauma that I cannot even talk about on this app, emo music has been the one place that I have found solace. And you're telling me that I can't write about my own experiences? This is not a recent bandwagon I am hopping on. I've been emo since 5th grade. This is me absolutely ripping a drum solo for an Avenged Sevenfold song in middle school.
It's not necessarily that people were boasting about it, but it definitely had a status to us. Same goes with self-harm. Oh my gosh, if you were on that side of Tumblr. It was normalized to do it to yourself. It was normalized for it to be a way out or a coping mechanism. That was the chunkiest way I've ever said a word. And it's not that these issues aren't real. I don't know if I can put this into words. If you lived through it, I'm sure you know what I mean. Perseverance got away with it, and we are still very guilty fans of them. I've got a little bit of sass to my voice today. I'm sorry. I love you. His music is giving me a bit of nostalgia. It's very what we've come to know as the entry-level alternative music, with pop, punk, rock, emo music on MySpace vibes as a huge influence for it, and there's a bit of screaming in there, and then very straight to the point lyrics.
He raised his voice at her and she screamed, light a match, throw it on our I'm a psych.
Attention that TX2 copied yet another song, so I just decided to make a reference list so people can add to it in the future.
I said I'd come say hello and try and distract YouTube from trying to copyright strike me. If you just search up TX2 copy song on TikTok, this video does come up, and I have pitched it a little bit if you're wondering why Alvin the Chipmunks have returned. Do I think he's a punk artist? No. Do I think that he is making emo music in the form of emo-core? No. Do I think he is an alternative artist? Yeah. I think he's in the mainstream of the alternative artist, and I think that is important. He wants to bring punk rock energy back into the mainstream. Did we like that I had the urge to do air quotes and I didn't? So I was just firing like a cowboy. Before you choke on your tea and pop a hernia, hear me out. Try and think back to the early 2000s or 2010s. I know. Yeah, there were definitely bands that we liked that people told us were cringe. And now that they've been around for so long, these days it's hard to remember that. You are currently watching My Chemical Romance get bottled in 2006 at Download. This was because they were playing before Slayer. No, yeah. Slayer always trumps. So they were playing before Slayer, so the fan pit is just filled with Slayer fans. My Chemical Romance was not cool in the early 2000s. It's a little confusing because also being emo was not cool, to the point where if you were an emo kid, you did not call yourself an emo kid under any circumstances. A few trustworthy statements from none other than Reddit. They're speaking a lot here how all the fans were heckling because they didn't think that they deserved a bigger headlining. I will eat my tongue. They did go on after Slayer. They didn't think that they deserved a bigger headlining spot than Slayer. Dradway was egging them on, encouraging the heckling, and I believe he requested bottles of piss to get thrown at him. I think when you were an early 2000s emo, for sure, it was definitely not seen as cool. I think when the Black Parade simmered on high heat for 15 minutes, it did a lot for them. I do love this one comment here. Slayer fans have always needed to calm the fuck down. I'm sorry, I love you. I just wanted to remind you of this because TX2 is currently seen as very uncool and hated by metal fans, like how My Chemical Romance once was. This does not mean that they will never get anywhere and become a surprising cult classic one day. He also got baptized by the piss bottle.
My band had piss thrown at us on stage. Check this out.
TX2, I feel is kind of acting like, in parking buildings where there's that little arm that comes up and down and it lets one car in at a time. You have to pay for your parking. I feel he's just standing there and getting whacked in the head of one of those so that people can kind of sneak into the car park and see what it's all about. And that's kind of important because even though a lot of metalheads are really loving and a lot of them are like me where we don't care that much. That's why we're here. We don't really give enough shit. And I think that's super important. And like I say in every video, if it does really piss you off, if you don't like hyper energy, I don't know how you stumbled across me, but also, brother, just scroll past it. For my 5th birthday, my mum decided to buy me a boombox and Avril Lavigne's first CD. I've always called her my gateway drug, between her and Green Day. I would have never known who she was if she wasn't popular enough to be on the radio station. But if I hadn't have had those songs readily available in mainstream, I would have never found Wage War's Filthiest Blair in the River. Actually, I think there are better Blair than that, but it is really good. TX2 and Ice Nine Kills recently did a song together. It's actually pretty catchy, but I think this is a step in the good direction for him. Metalcore is very diverse, and I think the most accepting fan base kind of usually belongs into metalcore because we kind of have to, because we're fed whatever scraps are around. And there'll definitely be some Ice Nine Kills fans who listen to the song and went, you know what, the song is great, and maybe that will help them enter into the TX2 side of things. I don't know, I'm just spitballing ideas here. I mean, well done for TX2 and working with these very experienced bands. I haven't dropped a fucking song. Who am I to bloody judge? That was probably really hard work to get to. I sing like a dolphin choking on digestive cookies.
I went to high school with this kid. Everybody is calling him an industry plant. He is not. He made music like this in high school, and he has stayed true to form. This is a genuine article, ladies and gentlemen. This is a genuine emo kid. I'm fucking proud of him. You go, Evan. You go, okay?
The whole point of alternative is that you're a little bit different, right? You don't really have somewhere that you fit in. I don't think TX2 necessarily fits perfectly into anything. And to be honest, that's some of my favorite artists. I love metalcore because there's no rules, right? Metalcore is the metal music that doesn't really fit in. You can find 2 bands that make completely different music and they're both considered metalcore. But then again, there is metalcore elitists that say nothing beats original Killswitch Engage and that nothing else should be considered metalcore. And to that, I say, my friends, you are missing out on some great looking pud. There was no one in our community for a hot minute and we weren't really getting many gigs. We need new people in the community to keep the community alive. I'm gonna say it. I kind of stand for him. Other than the naughty finger wagging things that were spoken about. From what I've gathered, I'm from the outside. If anyone is on the inside and wants to let me know of other things that might have happened. But from what I can see, this is all that's really been around. I think that he's needed to help keep the scene alive. I don't know why, but for 2 videos in a row now, I'm in a skirt. Like, I like to get my thoughts out with my legs. My booty was out so much in the last video. I need to write a formal apology to Mr. Radke. Dog.